All right, boys. I was just opening some trading cards. I'm going to roll a d20 to see if the show is going to be any good. Oh, boy.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, your number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I'm your host, Robyn Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson. We want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We are free and available everywhere you get your podcasts. We got a great show on today's episode. Sure, the Coyotes might have lost an OT, Matthew, to the Stars, but they went to OT against the Stars.
It's about time this team actually takes games to overtime, because in their 1-goal games, it's mostly been regulation games. Also, if you were curious, I rolled an 8, by the way, just so I could pay off the setup. But no, it's interesting that this is a team that I don't think the Coyotes have beat in a very long time. No, I'm not going to fact check that, because it's been depressing as long as I've been covering them. They struggle to beat Dallas, and when you take a team like this to overtime, it's always interesting. And another interesting bit, I was out tonight, so I didn't get to watch the game. So the Coyotes actually played a competitive game of hockey against Dallas when I did not watch. So I have to rely exclusively on Robyn and the numbers. So this is going to be a very interesting episode to get through today, boys.
Oh yeah, no, this game. And here's the unfortunate part about it for me is the fact that I could only watch bits and pieces because I'm like everybody else was having antenna problems, because I for some reason literally like 90% of people that on the Twitter sphere were complaining about their antenna problems tonight. Which is interesting because it looks like I guess it's not just our antennas. There must be something else going on. But yeah, it was bad. But I got it fixed by the third period. I got a chance to watch the rest of the third period. And the team just looked competitive out there. They kind of kept it close through the entire way, which shocked me. Even when they were down 2-1 late in the third period, I was like, I still wasn't complaining at that point. I was like, this is not bad. This looks like an exciting game. It's flying. That's for darn sure. This game is flying fast. And I think that's what made it exciting, because it was going that fast and there was so much going on.
If I tell you this record, I want to see your reaction to see if this sounds like it would surprise you. They're 4-2 at home right now, the Coyotes. 3-4-2 on the road. It's felt a little worse than that on the road and at home both. So the fact the records are as solid as they are, they walk out of this one 7-6-2, so above NHL 500. They are 1 point behind the Blues for the second wild card, 2 points behind the Ducks for the first wild card at 16 points. So while technically no longer at a playoff spot, once again, keeping it competitive, keeping themselves in it. It's very interesting because for a lot of the problems we've seen, and from what I've been able to follow and try to get myself caught up on real quick, a lot of the effort problems they didn't see tonight, which is good. But it's interesting that no matter how much we've seen those struggles, and when those struggles happen, they definitely feel like a lot. It feels like a lot to watch. They still are keeping themselves competitive and right in it. And I don't know if I should be eating cheeseburgers anymore, because I don't know if my heart rate can deal with it as we get down the line.
What's interesting to me is this is a similar Coyotes team in the sense where, like, they would be beating teams, or like they'd be being extremely competitive against teams they really shouldn't be. And they'd be losing and having terrible games, like ugly, like either if it's an ugly win, sure, but like otherwise just bad games against teams that they should be able to handle. Because the Coyotes are at that point again where they're not like at the bottom of the barrel anymore. So we know certain teams that they're better than. And also, again, they're not good. So we know plenty of teams who are better than them. The Dallas Stars are one of those teams, and even going into the road trip, you and I expected that it was like, yeah, they're probably going to lose this one. It's not going to be not going to be a great game. They proved us wrong on that. But yeah, sure, they ended up losing, but they ended up getting a point. They ended up staying competitive the entire way, and it proved us wrong, but it also proved us right in the sense we talked about the team remaining competitive throughout the start of this season and like figuring out ways to do that.
It's interesting how Dallas and again, I've admitted my personal biases against them multiple times just for the sake of transparency and honesty, but they're the best team in the division by 5 points right now. 11-3-1 record after tonight. 23 points. Colorado 9-5-0 with 18 points, and then Winnipeg 8-5-2 with 18 points. So whenever someone tried to claim Winnipeg sucked, they don't. So that's a little weird, but it's just they actually were competitive against a Dallas Stars team they're historically bad against, and that is on a now 4-game winning streak and is the best team in the division. And I guarantee no one had them being the best team in the division this year. Well, some people had them going to the Cup. I didn't see anyone having them finishing number one in the division. It's usually Colorado. So it's definitely weird territory. But would you believe that by November 14th, the Coyotes would be ahead in the standings of Seattle, Calgary, Minnesota, and Edmonton? If I told you that before the season started?
Maybe a couple of those teams, but not all. Definitely not all of them. It certainly is an interesting development that we've got at this point. The NHL season this year is dumb.
It really is. And looking ahead a little bit to like Columbus is struggling more than I thought they were. The Coyotes are going to need to win that game. And
That'll
like
be a rookie matchup right there.
Yeah,
Cooley
number 3
versus
overall, Adam
Fantilli.
Fantilli versus Logan Cooley.
That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll definitely appreciate that one. And I think that's going to yeah, I mean it's going to be one to watch out for. That's on Thursday, right? Oh yeah, just fun fact, I'll have just been moved by then or be in the middle of moving. So, we'll see how much I actually get to watch.
We want to get into the goal scoring summary after the first word from our sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get and get to the goal scoring summary after we hear from our friends at Sleeper. And today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Logan Cooley could get the Calder Trophy. Who knows what else could happen? It's the Coyotes could make the playoffs for all we know, and you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you got to do is pick whatever players you think are going to, get their stats and to win 100 times money. You can do it alongside friends and not just with hockey. You can do it with NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, all on Sleeper. You can talk in a group and a chat functionality in the app, connect with other fans. Entries can be made in under a minute. All you got to do is pick whether or not studs like Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, or others will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, plus minus, and more in a given game. To win 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me. Coyotes fans, once again, you can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. As Locked On NHL. See Sleeper terms of use for details and locational availability. All right, Matthew. Let's keep going here on Locked On Coyotes. I do want to give a little shout out too before we continue. I just want to let everyone know that Locked On also now has the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for 24/7, covering the top sports and the stories. All local experts on Locked On, plus national shows that cover every league. Just go ahead and subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube to get to their access to their national sports 24/7 streaming channel. But back to talking about the Coyotes versus Stars. Let's get to that scoring list.
All right, let me do my patented quick goal scoring summary. So, 5 minutes, 33 seconds in, my wife actually interrupted us with whatever we're doing tonight. I was like, oh, Clayton Keller, he scored his 7th of the season for Barrett Hayton. Good to see Barrett Hayton starting to get some points generated together. Lindell, his first at 17:52 to tie it up for the Dallas Stars. Then Rupe Hintz, his 6th at 9:32 on the power play of the second period, and 2-1 Dallas at that point. Go to the third period. The Coyotes answer back with a power play on their own. I do believe this one was a clapper by Jason Zucker, his third from Matias Pacelli and Yanis Moser at 12:11. Then Lawson Krause giving the Coyotes a 3-2 lead a couple of minutes later at 14:26. His 6th of the season. So there's a lot of players right now with 6 goals in the team. From Jonathan Dursey, Tyler Seguin ties it with about 3.5 minutes to go in the period before. Is that really Matt Duchene, his 6th of the season, 42 seconds in on the power play, 4-3 finish in favor of the Dallas Stars?
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's interesting to see. Like every now and then, like I forget where Duchesne is because I feel like he's moved around a decent amount. Yeah.
Even though I don't think he really has. He went to Nashville, ended up getting bought out in the offseason, but like it feels like he's moved around more than he has.
I mean, before he was in Nashville, he was in Colorado, right? Didn't he
Before
spend
Nashville, I think that was Ottawa. Then before that was Colorado.
wasn't
I
he
should not know anything
was
about
he
Matt
on
Duchene's
Columbus for a
career.
little bit? I want to say he was on.
Yeah, for that last
But
year that the band was together, right? When they still had it was the last year of him, the Breadman, and Sergei Bobrovsky.
yeah, now and then you easily wanted to leave because John Tortorella is certifiably insane.
Tortellini.
But I'm glad though that looking at the list here, Clayton Keller is fine. Is getting what he needs to get done, right? Getting his goals. He does what he does what Clayton Keller is good at.
Mm-hmm.
Lawson Krause finally getting back into the groove of things after a slow start, which I think a lot of us can love to see because some people were a little questioning, is like, what's going on? We haven't seen anything from Krause all season, so in the first 6 games or whatever it was, and then he goes on a scoring streak. And it's been having some and making some crucial goals as well.
We have some unfortunate news, however, so let's go ahead and discuss this real quick. So, per Craig Morgan, Juuso Valimaki took a hard shot to the face and cut him, and he went to the locker room immediately. And as of 18 minutes ago, when I first saw it, he is still being evaluated. Quote, which is worrisome. And
yeah, no, that wasn't
definitely
that definitely wasn't pretty early, like early to mid third period. He did go down, took a slap shot to the face.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some blood on the ice, so they had to take a break and actually had to clean off the blood. It wasn't pretty, and I think a lot of people, even Dallas fans, we were all hoping that he's okay. And the fact that he's still being evaluated says a lot of things. I mean, again, it was a slap shot to the face. Those hurt. I've never taken a slap shot to the face, but I also, whenever I play, I wear a cage, so that never is gonna happen. But all you gotta do is think about how the speed at which a lot of these players hit slap shots, right? We're talking like what, 80 to 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's fast, especially when these pucks are frozen.
So I didn't even realize that that Michael Kesselring was still called up. I thought he also got sent back down a couple of days ago. I guess I got that notification confused because he's still officially on the roster. That would mean that right now you have the 7 defensemen. If you lose Valimaki, Kesselring has to slot in there. If it's something that's egregious enough for him to miss the game and then still be evaluated after, I would assume if he's going to miss a game, he'd miss a game or two. So, it, who do you think would end up getting called up to be that new seventh defenseman?
That's a good question.
Because Dermott's still on IR right now, technically.
That's right, he is.
It's weird because like he came back and then I think he got injured again, like
Yeah, he came
immediately.
back. He came back from being sick, and then he
Hmm.
got injured.
So Josh
Let me.
Brown is fine, as a fill-in guy, but if he has to start going higher up on the depth chart, and I like Josh Brown. This is not meant to be anything negative towards Josh Brown, but is it
I'd
not going
probably.
to hurt the defense?
I don't know. Interesting. Honestly, let's not be surprised to hear Vlad Koyachana hear his name get called up.
Well,
Um,
it's because Craig was is high on him for a while, and if he's talking to the team themselves, that just tells me logically, like he, even if it's just in passing, that means that someone from the team has probably said something. But I also wouldn't be surprised if you go for someone like Steven Comfer just for a veteran presence, or even Maximilian Zuber because of how well he's played
True.
so far and how he was making some noise last year
Just
over
to give
playing in
him a
the
taste.
DEL. Yeah, just to see what you got for a game or two, if um if Valimaki misses time. But then again, you could also just call up one of them and they just sit for the game or two and they get sent back down.
It certainly is possible. I think that's something that you just have to take a look at. A lot of different options. I think they just have to look at what slots in better, what fit, in terms of based on what the Coyotes need and like their immediate need, like what their exact need is and what they're looking for in terms of the fill on defense.
Well, let's get into a slightly better thing I noticed. I just kind of wanted to look at the goal scoring leaders. Connor Ingram, out of the two goalies, and again, nothing against Veggie, is I've always like maintained is the better of the two goalies. Not only is his save percentage and goals against average better, he has 5 wins, which ties him 14th overall in the league right now. Vamelka is like further down, like 15, 20 slots. So at least like to me, when it comes to the concept of potentially trading one goaltender, so you have your one starter, then you bring in just a standard backup, it kind of feels like Connor Ingram is winning that job slowly. And
Mm-hmm.
when you start competing, you want to get your true starter figured out sooner than later, but they're under no obligation, no rush, essentially.
Oh yeah, no,
Just
they're in no rush right now.
yeah, I just wanted to note it.
And I think it's a good. I think you make a good point about that. Like the discussion of potentially trading Vecchi has been around for a while, and I feel like that's something that could just be definitely discussed in a couple months' time. And like you said, there were no rush to do that right now. They just
Mhm.
kind of want to see where things land. But I feel like you know you're right. I feel like based off what we've seen so far, Ingram is earning his spot.
It's good to see because the meme is still alive that he's the one who gave up like 5 goals to the Coyotes in the final game in Glendale, and then, like he got lit up a little bit, for against his former team in Nashville. So it's just kind of like funny how that happens, but I also feel like he doesn't get blown up as much. Anyway, we got a word from a sponsor, and then we can get into some closing thoughts and maybe a peek at the next game coming up.
Let's do that.
And today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Now, we do spend a lot of time together. We get fired up together on wins and losses, who starts and who sits. And honestly, I'm thankful for that connection we have. And today, I'd like our chat to be a little more personal. I just learned that you can get a 1-year supply on ED medications. You realize what that means, right? Bring on the extended travel, bring on the next natural disaster or supply chain issue. You are covered, my friend. You don't have to worry whether or not you can refill your generics for Cialis, Viagra, or any other prescriptions. And it's possible because of our friends at Jace Medical. Go online right now at jacemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply on your daily medication. Remember to use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. A verified customer had this to say about Jace. Quote, I am thankful for the service. Supply chain issues caused me to cut my pills in half to have it. I ordered most of my daily meds with a year's supply. I also ordered an antibiotic kit, and I feel secure now. Prices are lower than local pharmacies, and I highly recommend this for everyone. If you or someone you love get some peace of mind, help you or someone you love get some peace of mind by having a year's supply of any daily medication, just go to jasemedical.com and see if it's offered. Remember to use promo code locked on for $20 off your purchase.
I want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We're free and available everywhere you get your podcast. Also, as a reminder that you can tune into every Arizona Coyotes game on their hometown radio broadcast on Sirius XM in your car or on the Sirius XM app. Just search, if you're on the app, just search up Coyotes. Let's get back to some closing thoughts here. As once again, Matthew, the Coyotes fall to the Stars 4-3 in overtime. Let's get some closing thoughts on that, and then let's see if we have enough time to kind of just give it, like you said, a little bit of a peek to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, so I just like the fact how by every report and trying to pay attention as close as I could, though being busy tonight, that the effort was a little more there, how the scoring has been there over the last couple of games, so you're starting to build that more positive trend, and you're doing it on the road, which is a good thing. You at least get a point. They now have 3 points in their last 2 games. It's a good positive thing to kind of build on. And it kind of feels like the hardest part of the road trip is behind them in a sense, and it's really good to get those points when you can. So I'm pleasantly pleased with that. I like how Krauser and Kells are getting some goals. It's good to see Michelli restarting his point streak. It's the positive aspects after the bit of struggles and the fact that they were still getting decent enough results with those struggles. Now, once the results get better, it becomes a little easier to like, yeah, that actually wasn't that bad. you
Right.
know, hindsight being 2020. So it's good to get points against Dallas, and hopefully we'll have games where we can talk about, hey, yeah, we actually beat the Dallas Stars. And
Yeah, no,
hopefully sooner.
like we said, like taking as much of a positive outlook off of a game like this as we can, which is good. Again, this is a game in which we can take a pretty solid positive outlook. One thing I kind of want to point out too, something that kind of gave me some pause to think about, of something that I would love to see too. Mike Gould posted it on Twitter, and when it went ahead and said, "It's like, can you imagine like how awesome a playoff series between these two teams could be, based off what we just saw tonight?" And
Be fun.
which it made me think about, that's not entirely out of the realm. The Dallas Stars, let's say they win not only the division, but they win the conference. And the Coyotes get the second wild card spot. That'd be a first round match right there, and that would be a fun first round match. And
Yeah,
again, that's speculation, but it would be. I mean, like, it's not in like I said, replied. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that could actually happen.
I mean, I just want to say any playoff matchup would be fun right now. Any playoff series, but yeah, no, I don't like playing against Dallas because the Coyotes can't beat them. So no, I disagree.
I mean, I'm all in for the fun, for the chaos. The Coyotes can cause some chaos this season. I'm all for it.
Look, after what the D-backs did to me, I don't care about chaos anymore. I just want W's. The Phoenix Rising just won a championship, and they're the one team I don't care about because I just not that interested in watching soccer. I'd rather play it. So it's like I can't even celebrate. One of my teams finally wins. One of my teams, like my local teams, wins, and I can't celebrate it. So it's like I just want dubs. I don't want chaos. I don't want an accelerated heart rate. I just want a gosh darn dang nabbit win.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. I feel like a lot of Coyotes fans probably feel that way, but there are also probably a lot of Coyotes fans who are also like, you know what? I'm in for the ride. I'm in for the ride this season. I'm in for the ride. maybe next season or the season after. Yeah, let's see how many dubs we can take.
Do you want to take a little peek at the Columbus Blue Jackets?
Let's do it.
All right, tiny peek. Over the last 10 games, the Arizona Coyotes have maintained the mediocrity, but that's a good thing because if it's mediocre now, it's better than what it was last year. Next part of the journey, 4-4-2 over the last 10. Columbus 1-6-3. They're going to be looking to get some points and bounce back. The Coyotes need to take advantage of a team that they should be better than right now.
Mm-hmm.
The penalty kill percentage, the Coyotes are 23rd in the league. They need to get that up. Columbus is 89.4%. They are third overall. Excellent penalty kill for Columbus. Coyotes' fifth best power play, 29.8%, where Columbus is 27th with a 12% power play. They have a weak power play. The Coyotes have a weak penalty kill. They need to. Yes, there's injuries. They need to kind of take advantage of games like this to boost the numbers in that penalty kill. Face-off percentages are about the same, 23rd and 26th for Coyotes and Columbus. Coyotes maintaining a solid goals for per game, 3.33. Columbus 2.75. And the Coyotes are now allowing over 3 goals a game. They're also 12th, 3.07. Columbus 3.56. So the Coyotes theoretically should easily be able to get at least 3 goals, maybe 4 on this team, but they're going to need to step up a little bit more defensively to get that goals against per game back down to below 3 and take advantage of the fact that Columbus is struggling to score overall. And that's how you win that game is you tighten up the defense, you take advantage of a weak power play, and you score goals against a team that's struggling to not have people score goals on them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one thing that I feel like I should add, and it's something that I mentioned earlier in I think at the end of last week, earlier this week, whatever it was. At this point, I kind of losing track of some of my days sometimes. Is taking a look at expected goals, and I know like a lot of people don't like advanced stats and don't understand it as much. I kind of again, I'm not claiming myself to be an expert on the way expected goals work, but I feel like if you are like at or above your expected goals, I feel like you're doing what you really should be doing, right? The Coyotes right now are, I think, like their expected goals are higher, but their actual goals are lower. And I feel like that's something they need to work on a little bit more. I feel like it just shows that they're not taking advantage of the opportunities that they're getting and are actually not I should say not closing on those opportunities. If they do, this team will just freaking take dubs all the time. And I feel like a game against the Columbus Blue Jackets should be a game in which they'd be able to handle if that's the case. But that's a huge if that they're able to handle it like exactly as that way.
Sure. I zoned out. No, I seriously, I zoned out. I my brain's in like 18 different spots right now. I'm gonna be up all night. I'm sorry, Robyn. I'm just gonna say yes and now my head.
No, look, let's be real, Matthew. I'm with you too. I'm moving tomorrow, so
good luck with that. I will be unavailable tomorrow. I'll be at the arena.
yeah, no, I will be having a lot of cleanup in this studio / room space, and in the next couple of days, you guys will notice a significant amount of changes happening in my space. So we'll see. I feel like it's the third time in over a year, but anyways, let's close things off. Thanks to everyone for listening to today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, the Sirius XM radio app, and ad-free on Amazon Music. Don't forget to interact with us on social media or on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at @LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robyn with a Y _LEANO. Matthew Jacobson is at the AZ Sports Guy. And interact with us, ask a question you might have. We might answer right back or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.